So even if you're an NA player, you've probably heard about what's going on right now in the JP version of the game, and that is the whole raid battle thing that we're going on with right now, and I kind of just wanted to talk about it and voice my concerns going forward for FGO because the way these raids are being handled is a little worrying to me, and it kind of makes things a little concerning going forward. So that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. But before we begin, if you have not already, click that like and that subscribe button because your boy is on that daily FGO content grind for you guys, and a like and a subscribe goes a long way in showing support for the channel. There's also free ways to show your support in the channel in the description down below. You know, I'm affiliated with LD Emulator and Loot Cakes by all means, so those are free ways to support the channel, and you get pretty good products. And they're absolutely free as well. Got to mention that as well. And no, you do not get banned if you use an emulator. So let me just ease anybody's concerns with that. If you want more content, I stream every weekday on Twitch, although right now I'm on vacation, so I wouldn't count on me streaming on weekdays. And then finally, you can click that join button to become a channel member and gain access to channel member exclusive content. But now let's talk about these raids. So if you're on the NA version of the game, you probably just heard people talk about this and mention how we have these raids on JP, but they're literally going down in like 30 minutes to an hour. Some of them are like now lasting about an hour and a half, but if you look at this, it's like, yeah, bro, an hour and 48 minutes. That's as much as it lasted. And the problem is twofold. One, the kill counter, right? The amount of times you can actually play the raid is not very high, especially because we just got the update where you can blitz through your skills. Right? If you tap the screen when you use the skill, it literally goes in like 6 times speed, and it just dramatically increased the rate at which you could farm things. So for one, you can do subsequent runs increasingly fast. Like you can do it insanely fast, right? And it's also just the fact that there's not a lot of times you can actually farm the raid in and of itself. But there's also another problem, is that they're doing them one at a time. So this is supposed to be kind of like the Solomon event, right? Where, if you remember, you would fight each of the demon pillars and there was like 10 of them or something. So even though like Barbados went down in like a couple hours, you could still farm the other ones and still get some decent amount of farming in. And you know, it wasn't that big of a deal because they were all up at once. So, you know, you still at least had something to farm, and they didn't go down as easy. And I mean, even on the NA version, we had a kind of a spook where they actually didn't know if we were going to beat the raids in time, because we kind of got to the last ones. They're like, oh, these rewards aren't very good, which kind of leads me into the, you know, next part of like why you should care. I mean, it's just because look at these, like you get really good stuff from these raids. I mean, the Ivan raid is very, very strong. Like you get gallstones, which is a bit more of a rare thing to get. You know, ice is very good, especially if you have someone like Scotty that you just recently acquired, especially on the JP version of the game. Proofs are always necessary because it just seems like every servant needs billions of proofs, and then you get a decent bit of QP as well. You know, you're getting over 4 mil QP for a run. That's insanely good. That's better than the current QP mission that they have. Even the new one they just added on JP. Granted, you're only running it with like maybe like 1 drop CE or something. You know, on that run you usually get about like 3.5. So this being 4 mil is like still better than that, and it just makes this really strong. Whether you need QP, just want to need a couple extra materials, just something along those lines, and it just goes down in like an hour and a half, right? And then you know you go down to like Surtur. Like Surtur went down, you know, in 2 hours and 46 minutes, right? Which is significantly longer by comparison, but it's still just by an hour, right? And you still have like things that people would really want. Like you have the yarn and you have the dragon fangs along with the QP again. Then finally you had this, which gave you just literally like every single, well, not every single cookie, but pretty much most of the cookies, most of the gems, and most of the little jewels down here, right? So just like the fact that like they go down like so quickly is really like worrying going forward, because it kind of worries me on how FGO is going to treat these going forward, like when it comes to raids, because raids are such like a really good part of the game, because usually you can farm them hardcore for usually about a day right before they go down, you know, maybe a little bit less, and the rewards are generally very good. It's why people are really looking forward to the Apocrypha rerun, because the raids for Apocrypha are really strong, right? Like whether you need QP or materials, they're very easy to clear as long as you have the team set up kind of ready for it. Maybe using an event damage servant or something, but it's just really easy to do. You can farm it a lot. It's just really, really good. I would argue like I look forward to raids more than I look forward to lotteries, because lotteries are like 3-turn setups, and usually you gotta have something like really specific to get it done, because sometimes the nodes are really annoying. Whereas raids, It's literally like just smack the enemy once really hard. Usually there's event damage bonus that you can use to take advantage of it. Usually they have some traits you can exploit, and it just makes it for really good farming, and just worries me in like how they're going to do this in the future, right? And it kind of worries me when this comes to NA, because I'm like, the fact that the kills are very low is quite concerning, and you can kind of see that like they kind of learn, right? They're like, okay, let's double the kills for this one, but it still didn't go down very like it wasn't very intense. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't really enough. So I'm getting really concerned. Like I was thinking, okay, maybe they're gonna do like Ivan, Surtur, and then they'll do another like Lost Belt boss. Like I don't know, maybe we'll fight Beast, Koyenskaya for a little bit or something like that, right? And then it'll be significantly more. But yeah, I don't know. I just kind of wanted to make this video, just kind of voicing my concerns, kind of talking about what I thought about the current raid system and how I thought it might not be a good thing going forward. And you know, I know like I really shouldn't. You shouldn't expect to have the best experience playing JP, because obviously they're playing the game when it's like 3 p.m. for them, but it's like 3 a.m. for us. So like obviously I'm willing to accept that like if it died while I was asleep from like 12 to 8 a.m., right, like that's acceptable, because that's like 8 hours when I'm asleep, but that's like the middle of the day for them. That's understandable. But it's worrying because I'm thinking about this when this comes to NA, right? And how it's gonna be, just not a really fun time. Like, I mean, God forbid you go out to dinner when the raid goes up, and then you get back from Din Din and the raids are done, right? Like, I think that's a little ridiculous, right? And there's other games like, say, Dragon Ball Legends that I used to play. I don't play it anymore, but they used to have the same problem with raids as well. Like, their raids would die in like a few hours, and then they just dramatically increased basically the HP of the boss. And so at that point, it was like the raid would last all weekend or something, right? And it was way more worth it, because raids in those games are obviously still worth doing as well, because you get insane materials and whatnot. So I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I don't know. I'm a little concerned with the direction this is going, but I don't know. Am I just maybe a little paranoid that this is going to be kind of a crapshoot when it comes to the NA version of the game? I don't know, because you really look forward to these raids. Like I would say with like the Apocrypha event, or with the Guda Guda, oh, what's her name? The Himiko event, that one. Like the raids on that one, they're all like pretty good, and they like last a decent bit of time. They have good rewards and whatnot. And these ones have good rewards. It's just they're not lasting very long. And so I don't know. It just makes me kind of worried with the future of how they're going to handle things in the game, like when it comes to raids and whatnot. And I don't know. Maybe it's just something they're testing out. Maybe this is just early on in the raid life. Maybe when we get like raids number 6 and 7, they will be extremely beefy. Like maybe they're like 400 million kills or something, right? Maybe they're just dramatically higher. Something like that. I have no idea. But it looks really concerning on the offset. And at the very least, even if it does improve at the end, this is a warning for NA players. When this hits, you really gotta pay attention. You gotta make sure you start getting this done immediately, because otherwise it's just, you're gonna completely miss out. And I mean, there's decent rewards in here, right? And part of the whole thing with raids is that, it's super easy to farm. It's super quick to farm, especially with the new skill update, that it makes it like the best place to farm out of like even like all the free quests and stuff in the game, because you want to farm them here just because of how fast you can get them done. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below, all that good stuff. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. You guys have yourselves a nice day. Peace, late, guys.